This is Bleav in Buckeyes. I'm Bryant, and All-American quarterback Chimdi Chekwa. The show is brought to you by FanDuel. Chim, no football this week. It's what you want to call, I guess, award week. Everybody travel to get their awards. Everybody going to banquets with the tuxedos on. How you doing, man? What's going on?
Doing good, man. It was a good weekend. Not actually sit around and watch football all Saturday. Maybe get some stuff done around the house. You know what I'm saying? So got an opportunity to fix some things. Get some things accomplished. And then this weekend it's back to what we love, watching some football.
That's right. No, yeah, I caught. Well, they played an Army-Navy game this past weekend.
Yeah, I didn't watch it.
I did watch that. I watched it. It was a good game, man. Went down to the wire. Almost feel bad for Army, man. They couldn't hold it together and pull it through, man. But that's in the past now, man. So yeah, so obviously the first thing, the biggest award, our guy was up for. He was a finalist. We thought, as we said, whoever win the Big Ten championship would most likely come away with this award, and obviously Indiana pulled it off. So the Heisman went to Mendoza. He won the Heisman. He had the sweep. He had the Heisman. He won the Maxwell. He also won the Dan O'Brien Award as well. I think he should have won the Heisman. But I also would have to say, felt like kind of like a down year for the Heisman compared to the guy who won it, I guess, in recent years. What you say?
Yeah, it was a down year for sure. I mean, if you just look statistically, right? I remember when Jaden Daniels won the Heisman. You had guys like Penix and other guys up for the Heisman, and the stats were just crazy. And then you look at Ashton Jeanty and what he was able to do from a rushing standpoint. He comes second, right? And Travis Hunter, the focus was that he played so much offensively and was impactful, and on defense, I mean, you had guys finishing 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th that had way more passing yards than Mendoza. So, yeah, this year felt like there was nobody that really separated themselves from the group. So you basically went with the best team, the best team's best player. And I think that was solidified in the Big Ten championship. Indiana getting the win, and there's a story there because it's Indiana, right?
Yeah.
The Heisman is part of it is performance, part of it is narrative and story. And Indiana never won in the Heisman. Never, I mean, I'm not gonna say never win in the Big Ten championship, but not in my lifetime have they won or even competed.
I think they said outright, right? It's like maybe like the 40s or something. Like it's been a long time.
Yeah.
So I mean, obviously, so
it was one of those things where there was a narrative, there was a story. You had a story for Vanderbilt's quarterback Diego, and he created more of a story at the actual awards. But I was disappointed that Julian Saint almost seemed like an afterthought for the Heisman. There wasn't no real consideration for him at all. It felt like in terms of a first place. You got to go to the second place votes when you even look at him getting some votes and third place votes. But it was almost like he was young, and it's Ohio State, so them winning is kind of boring. And he didn't do anything super impressive to anyone, even though he did. He had the highest completion percentage, but he was kind of the afterthought. Even Jacob Rodriguez, the linebacker for Texas Tech, had more first place votes than Julian Saint. He wasn't even at the award, so I was a little disappointed in how they didn't even give him much of a consideration.
Yeah, and it don't make much sense, right? I mean, obviously the eyes are the eyes, but it's like essentially he was the leader. He was leading in eyes, right? And then kind of all the way up until obviously the Big Ten championship game, where obviously he didn't play his best game. He would say he didn't play his best game. We don't even have to ask him, but his stat line was nothing, historically bad or anything of that nature. But like you say, this felt like he was an afterthought. All those guys, I think Diego was a 4-year senior. Everyone else was in their third year, and Saint obviously being the second year, right, being essentially like a redshirt freshman. So, it went how it went, but I guess he gets the experience and the travel, and obviously it's an honor to be a finalist. But I don't know. Our Buckeyes, we've been finalists, I guess, fairly often over these years without bringing home the actual hardware. But I don't know, man. It is what it is. So So obviously, we're Buckeye Nation. We're locked into everything, and with that, I'm not gonna say it is. It's kind of like disrespect. Let's call it what it is. It's disrespect for a guy to essentially be sitting number one until his last game to all of a sudden be fourth. And like you say, people who not even consider finalists getting more first place votes than him. And then you see the clips of the media, right? I mean, like, they got that clip of the media. It's like the media doing media day, all four guys sitting at the table. And then, so I thought it was just Mendoza at first. Like, okay, Mendoza got a lot of people. Obviously, he's the favorite to win. Then they shoot to Diego. It's like, oh, he got a nice little crowd over there as well. It's like, he's most likely in contention with his career stats and, what he did this season. And then you go down Jeremy Love, and Love has a side. And then it's literally one reporter asking. It looked like he was asking Julian, saying, "Hey, where's Jeremiah Love sitting?" And that was the conversation was doing. I mean, how disrespectful is that? Obviously, like we said, we're planning on taking this Big Ten championship as fuel. The Heisman as fuel. We didn't even get to it yet, but Jeremiah Smith didn't win the Bleav. He's tweeting. He's finna paid in full clips about how he about to get grimy. Is this the fire we needed maybe to go on another playoff run?
Yeah, I don't think it's necessarily going to rise to that level. Julian Sand just comes to work, does his job, and goes home. There's nothing, there's nothing that grabs the media's attention. I mean, I'm not sure. I mean, we had games where he had great games, and the commentators didn't even talk about it, right? The first game of the season, everything was Arch Manning. Arch Manning didn't do much, and then it was just like, oh yeah, the other team has a quarterback who's having his first start. Like, he just completes passes from the pocket, and that's not super impressive. I think CJ Stroud in the same way, like him sitting in the pocket and completing passes consistently, doesn't capture capture the attention of media so as much. And I think for Julian Sanders, it's just one of those things that it's going to take him after this year to actually have that narrative that's following them as being one of the top guys coming in. So I think Ohio State suffers from, it's boring for Ohio State to continue to win at that level, even though they've lost to Michigan. They've lost the Big Ten the last few years. People just kind of pencil them in, and it's not as exciting as Indiana getting their first Heisman, or Jeremiah Love and the controversy around Notre Dame not getting in the playoffs, and Vanderbilt. It's almost similar to Indiana in terms of being good, right? So that's one thing. I don't see it. I don't see it fueling them as much. Now, let's get to the Biletnikoff, which I think is more interesting because Jeremiah Smith is a headliner, right? He is somebody that you can write a ton of stories about and show a bunch of great film, but he doesn't actually win.
Though? Like, but it's not fair though, right? So you got the guy out of USC who wins the Biletnikoff, Makai Lemon, who's a good player.
Yeah.
I think if you look at his stat lines, fairly similar. Makai probably got a couple niches in his favor, while Jeremiah Smith has some things in his favor as well. It's not fair, man. It's almost like you're punishing Ohio State for being good every year. You're punishing, since we're, the big dogs in the Big Ten, and now that we're the number one conference in football, you hear me hyping this up, right? The number one team, the number one conference. Obviously, we lost the Big Ten championship, right? So, technically Indiana's number one team. But, we're there every year. You just kind of pencil those in. Are we hurting ourselves? Like, okay, Julian saying your numbers are very impressive. You have the best completion percentage ever for a regular season, but you threw it to Jeremiah Smith and Carnell Tate. They'll probably be first round draft picks. And then you do the same thing to Jeremiah Smith. Oh yeah, you had a pretty good season. Everyone was game planning for you all year. You was able to still overcome that and have a great season with great stats. But your quarterback, man, he's very accurate, and he was a 5-star plus guy. So we're gonna pull back from you. At what point did it is it become fair that you give Ohio State their hardware that they deserve, that they worked hard for, that they? It's been obviously they no one says it, right? That everyone playing this team goals, but come on, you're Jeremiah Smith, you're the number one player in the nation. you have an off thought in your head that one day I could receive this award and be crowned the number one receiver in college football, when does it become fair for our guys to put the work in and show it and do it on Saturdays?
Yeah, it won't be. And the reality is nobody's going to feel sorry for Ohio State players because Ohio State wins all the time. And they got a ton of great players. And, as you mentioned, Carnell Tate being so good hurts Jeremiah Smith's chances because it's like, well, every time you play Ohio State, you got to deal with two guys. But when you play USC, everybody's bracketing the one guy, and he was still able to put up these types of numbers. It's just one of those things. And at the same time, because you have a Carnell Tate, you're not targeting Jeremiah Smith all the time, right? You spreading it around with tight ends. We ran the ball. We did all types of stuff with the Ohio State offense. So, yeah, I mean, that's just the reality of the situation. I don't know that it changes. The one thing that would change it, in my opinion, is playoffs. If they move the award to post playoffs, then because I think if they move the award to after the playoffs and Notre Dame was to get in, if Notre Dame got in the playoffs, I think you're really the Heisman is really going to be one of those quarterbacks, and then maybe a Jeremiah Love and maybe a Jeremiah Smith rise to the top because the talent is so impressive that it creates the narrative. Got people could get excited about it, and they're going to get the usage that they need to get. It's harder during a long season for a Jeremiah Smith, a Jeremiah Love, and these guys to get the same amount of usage because you don't want to burn them out before a potential playoff run. So, yeah, it's going to be harder and harder, I think, moving forward for Ohio State to get some of these national awards. Now, in the Big Ten, Jeremiah Smith was the receiver, the top receiver in the Big Ten, right? So those are a little bit closer to the Big Ten games, identify him as a top player. But national media, man, it's just going to be challenging for Ohio State to pull out these individual awards for sure.
Yeah, that's funny that you say that because I almost forgot that you said like, yeah, all right, he did win for the Big Ten. USC is in the Big Ten. USC is in the Big Ten. So he wins for the conference, but the national award goes to the USC receiver. And overall, that just do not make sense. But obviously, different voters and different people running the show from there. But shout out to Caleb Downs, man. Obviously, we get off our bitter horse and talking bad about the rest of the nation in the awards. Caleb Downs does bring home the Jim Thorpe Award, the third winner out of Ohio State, joining Antoine Winfield Sr. and also Malcolm Jenkins. I mean, he deserved it, right? That's another guy who's been really playing at a high level for a lot of years, and I feel like he's just steady. He's smart. He checks a lot of boxes. He's been doing it for a while, so well deserved.
Yeah, I think defensively is where we don't get hurt as much on the defensive side of the ball because now we're talking narrative. A lot of times, I mean, media doesn't necessarily know who's the greatest player. I mean, they can see it, but from a defensive back standpoint, sometimes you got to remind people like this is the best player. This is the best player, and I think that actually benefits somebody like Caleb Downs, who's probably been at minimum he's the top 3 DB every year the last like two years, right? So now that build up gets him this type of award where I mean there's other guys out there. The cornerback from Notre Dame, I think named Leonard Moore. He had a very deserving year, but it almost feels like it's Caleb Downs' year. Like you coming back next year, you get the opportunity to get it next year. But this guy has done it year after year, and now this is kind of the culmination of multiple years at that level, being that Thorpe Award winner. So yeah, shout out to him, man. I think him, and then he had a decent amount of guys get All-American award. I'm a little bit I'm a little bit salty that Davison Ebeneson wasn't on the list as a second or third team All-American, but it's hard for Ohio State corner to get those national awards for whatever reason. But a decent list though. All right, Buckeye Nation, let's keep it 100. The holiday season is busy. You got shopping, parties, flights to catch, and business still has to get done.
And somehow the world gets a little bit nasty. You got coughing, sneezing. You got kids running around, passing giants left and right. That's why you got to stay locked in with By May Vitamins.
Yeah, I take the Bleav vitamins, and the best part is that Bleav is made for the whole family, so everybody in the house can stay ready and everybody can stay healthy.
So whether you're closing deals, visiting family, friends, or just traveling or just out to eat with your family, keep Bleav vitamins as part of your routine.
Yeah, it's more energy, stronger immune system, no slowing down, and that's really the holiday flex. So head to Bleav.com and take care of yourself this season.
Use the code TEAMFAMILY for 25% off your first order, and that's Bleav.com. Stay healthy, stay locked in, and go Bucks.
Go Bucks.
Yeah, for sure. So, yeah, shout out to our All-Americans. First team, Jeremiah Smith, Orville Reese, Caleb Downs, Caden McDonald. Second team, Cardinal Tate, Sonny Styles. Third team, Julian Sand and Caden Curry. All those guys are very well deserved. But like you said, I feel like a couple guys are missing, Davidson being one of them. None of our offensive linemen making the list to me doesn't make sense, but it is what it is. But speaking of offensive linemen, obviously now we're past the awards. It's time to kind of anchor back in and get ready for some football. First thing I wanted to kind of hit on is that it's been reports that our right guard Tegra is most likely out for at least the first playoff game. I don't know. It's kind of concerning to me on multiple levels. For one, it must be a pretty serious injury, right? We're a few weeks away, and those reports are already coming out. Don't know how true it is, but some of our beat writers that are really close to the team are starting to report that. So it's kind of interesting to kind of say, it must be maybe something serious. If you're not playing the first game, maybe it's a chance you don't play in none of these playoff games. Must be something that might be, might need a procedure or just, takes a while to kind of get itself back going. So it's a question mark now. Who gets to start? Obviously, we've been playing several people at right guard throughout the season. Gabe Van Sickle, Ethan O, Josh Padilla has all been seeing refs at the right guard spot. Obviously, it's not. You don't know.
What's up with so many guys playing? At what point do you just say this is the guy and this is the backup guy? Like,
yeah, it's weird, man. Because before the season, and we did a show. We went to camp. I got to see the guys in person. I was like, man, we just got a lot of guys that look like they can play some college football. Usually, you got 5. You're lucky you got 6 or 7. We had about 8 or 9 guys that I'm telling you could go out there any Saturday and perform at a high enough level for Ohio State to win games. So at some point, you got to play these guys, right? You got to start in 5, and that's your unit. But if you could kind of find out some ways for some guys to get some reps to keep guys engaged, I feel like we could do that. I mean, last year we was rotating guys at the playoffs on the offensive line, which is, to me was the craziest idea beforehand, but it worked. The guys went out there, they performed well, they played well, and our offensive line was we was above par for the playoffs and was able to kind of go on that run with the team and get things done. So, here we are again, more or less, that we most likely be playing multiple guys at that right guard position. In my opinion, I'm gonna have to just throw an opinion out there. From what I've seen so far, Van Sickle is the guy. I think you go with him from the start. Some of the great plays that we've seen him make out the season. Well, I've seen him make throughout the season. You've seen him make out the season. If you're kind of locked in on the offensive line, I think he might be a special talent there in that spot. But I don't know. You got to have experience. You got to be able to do it for a whole game. We've never seen Gabe do it for a whole game. But I don't know. I think he gets the nod, but we'll see.
Yeah, he's looked good in the minutes I saw, and I don't pay a ton of attention to the offensive line consistently. But when I've seen him in action, he's looked good. I can't remember a bad rep yet. Maybe he's had some, but I haven't seen him. Speaking of the playoffs, though, you got a number of teams matching up in this first round.
Yeah,
I'm curious which matchup you are looking most forward to seeing.
I mean, really, it's obviously Miami. We played the winner of Miami, Texas A&M, but I think that's the most intriguing matchup if you're looking at the first round teams. I mean, I'm gonna call them off. You got Alabama, Oklahoma. I don't know. I feel like Alabama will find a way to kind of big brother Oklahoma and come out with a win there. Then you got Tulane, Ole Miss. I'm going with Ole Miss. We got James Madison, Oregon, I'm going with Oregon.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
Miami, Texas, and A&M. To me, I feel like those are two teams that are essentially very evenly matched. When you talk about they're led by their quarterback. Their quarterback does different things, right? Carson Beck is more of a pocket guy. A&M's quarterback could hit you in the pocket, but also could do some scrambling with his feet as well. I feel like they're both units that have outstanding pass rushes. I feel like they're both units that can find themselves struggling to get going in the run game and stopping the run. So to me,
yeah.
it's just like the kind of this the way the matchups kind of line up. To me, it's a game that I think would be very competitive. If I had to pick someone, I'm gonna go with the experience. I'm gonna go with Miami coming out with the win on the road at Texas A&M. Call me crazy, but before the season and watching Beck operate, I just know he's been through it all. He's been playing college football for a while now. He's
Yeah,
seen it all, so I think he'll be able to kind of keep his guys together and come out with a victory. Thoughts from you?
yeah. I'm looking
What
for.
game are you?
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
I'm looking forward to that matchup. That Oklahoma Bama, I think Oklahoma's quarterback isn't playing, right? The starting material. I think he was saying he was gonna
Mateer.
get ready for the
I don't know,
draft.
man. I,
I don't know if that's
I don't
I
know.
don't know if that's factual or not.
I seen a clip
But
of him like warming up, and he like fell over this dummy and looked it real bad. It was just like literally before we started the show. So I don't know. I think he's out there, but I don't know. I don't know. I ain't looked
so
into it.
so
But
maybe it's going. Those two teams don't seem like they can make a real run, honestly. Oklahoma and Bama. Now A&M and Miami are two teams to me that have a. I think they can get to that highest level. Like they have the talent and the ability, and they've gotten there before during the season. So these are two teams to me. If they prepare well, everybody's locked in a playoff game, they can make it exciting. Like it could be a legit exciting playoff game. So I think that's going to be an exciting matchup. And also, I think those two teams. I mean, depending on who wins that game, they match up against Ohio State. I mean, out of all the teams that are in that first round, honestly, that's the to me those are the tougher of the teams that Ohio State will match up against. So yeah, I think it's going to be a pretty good game. Oregon, I'm interested to just watch Oregon again, and just kind of see what they're capable of. Obviously, it's not going to be against a big dog opponent, but still, I'm interested to see. I'm not a big believer in Oregon, honestly, so I'm going to watch this game
oh,
and, and,
we
and and see what they got.
I'm gonna be honest, we're indifferent there. I don't know. I think Oregon is pretty strong. James Madison obviously play a very good branch of football. They're good at the stuff they do. I don't think there'd be no match for Oregon though. And I think, like you said, out of the Miami, Texas A&M. You think those teams are the most dangerous to me. It's the Oregon Ducks. That's their level of play, the way they could kind of get rolling with some of their high end guys. I don't know. I think the Ducks are serious and definitely could make some noise here in this playoffs. But yeah, man, we got through the whole show. We got through everything. You's good. We
I'm
got
good.
some stuff we got to get to, man. Before we kind of wrap things up, man. And this is not new, right? This is the Bleav in Buckeyes show. We keep an eye on our rivalry. We report on them all the time. We speak about the things that are going on up north. It's a lot going on, but
A
it's a
lot.
whole lot going on up north.
It's a
Obviously,
lot
with the
happening up there,
firing
man.
of their coach, Shamon Moore, we got people getting arrested. We just getting over scandals. I think a couple of coaches are still in court for other situations. But obviously, the biggest one is Moore is out, and the team up north will be hiring a new coach. Um,
Yeah,
a lot going
it's just an interesting thing, man. It's felt ever since the kind of Stein stuff came out, it's kind of felt like were running they were running from something that was going to catch up to them. And I'm not specifically the Sharon Moore stuff, but just the way the way they handle everything, right? It just seems like once they get caught, then either we fight against what we got caught doing, or we accept it and then give consequences to those who are within the organization. Honestly, I think there's an issue at the top in not being able to really run a program. Michigan is an elite level program, right? And it's kind of feeling like it's ran like a mom and pop shop, right? Like we're just kind of doing things as it comes. We're not taking anything seriously, sweeping things under the rug, and then when we get caught, then we're gonna address the situation. I think there was some aspect of them actually wanting to separate themselves from Sharon Moore, and maybe this gives them the out to be able to not have to pay, whatever buyout or whatever money that goes towards them. First, in that situation, man, it's just I just hope that everybody involved is everything turns out good for everybody involved. I don't like it's just too much, bro. It literally went from 10 or 20, maybe about 20, maybe about 30 to 100 really quick in 24 hours. And that's just crazy. But I think they need to address something that's bigger, right? That's even bigger
No.
at the top.
No, Chim, no, you being nice, man. I don't know what's going on, man. You guys, I don't guess because it's the all season, we coming off a victory against us, but no, man, it's their culture, man. It's their culture to act this way, man. These guys, obviously the situation, like you said, is overly personal, but it feels like from basically what are you seeing from all their inside guys, that essentially the university had an ace up their sleeve on their head coach. Like, all right, we got this ace up our sleeve. Everybody knows what's going on. When we want to play it, we're gonna drop this card on them, and then we'll find ourselves in the market for a new coach. In my opinion, they probably been operating behind his back for weeks to months at this point. They probably got something lined up, and they're waiting to kind of drop the news on who they're gonna come in and take this position.
So here's my question to you. Here's my question to you. If Michigan beats Ohio State, right? Do you think this stuff comes out?
Where's that rug?
Let me take it a step further. Let me take it a step further. Say Michigan beats Ohio State and gets into the playoff, right? Like the committee puts them in the college football playoff. Does this come out still at this time?
It turns into a 2026 problem. That's what that turns into. That would have been under the rug. It would have been a lumpy, big rug with a whole bunch of sign stealing, cyber crimes, arrest, DUI. It would have been all under that same rug of things of we don't know what you're talking about. Can you prove it? Have you seen anything with your own two eyes? No, you haven't. So we're going to sweep it all under the rug. I think that's what's going on up there at this point. Obviously can't prove it, but that's what it feels like, right? When people are talking about he was being investigated, they brought him in for 3 different occasions. Then obviously they said the narrative changed, right? Something happens and the young lady goes and report, and that could be the case. But I mean, where there's smoke, there's fire.
And there's been a lot of smoke. There's been a lot of smoke year after year after year. And this is my issue, man, because this is why I'm not going too hard on the situation. I do think it's a culture issue. But the problem is that, I mean, we're rivals with Michigan, right? But there's people involved, man. There's young kids that go to Michigan, they commit to them. There's parents, there's coaches that are, just out there trying to coach football, trying to lead a young man. And there's so much, it just seems like there's just so much scandal. And the fact that this stuff comes out after signing day, right? All this stuff happened all after signing day. We figured this out. The information got turned in. We let them go. There's individuals that could have made a better decision had they had this information prior to signing on the dotted line. And I really don't like it, man. I think it's definitely a culture issue. And I think it starts at the top, at the AD, or maybe even higher than that. I know they're having an internal investigation now. An internal investigation for Michigan, to me, means absolutely nothing. Right?
They're gonna hiring a law firm to come in, right? That they paid to come in. Yeah, right.
We're gonna pay y'all this much money, and because we paid y'all, we are the customer. We want you to actually deliver this information or you won't get paid for a future internal investigation that we do. It's just, it's troubling the way stuff is actually happening up there, up north. So I don't know,
man. It's definitely strange times, and just like you said, obviously, it's a lot going on. You You got families involved, all these people involved. This is how you operate. But like you say, but to your point though, you kind of brought this up, this don't come out to after signing day. What happened with our number one, basically our number one offensive coordinator, our number one assistant coach? He takes a job. What do? It's almost like we go on our way to let our recruits know, hey, our line is leaving. We still want you to be a Buckeye. We get in front of those type of things. We're not trying to pull you up. We're not going to wait till you sign, then let the news drop down. No, we're going to do things the right way so you can make the right decision, because that's our culture to be Ohio State Buckeyes, man. But man, as you know, man, we got football this week. We got playoffs. Obviously, we're bringing you news there. Whoever gets the win between Miami and Texas A&M, we'll have more information on them on what our Buckeyes need to do when they play, when they step on the field to dominate, to get that win and begin to defend their 2024 national champion. Because that's what we do. And we're going to be continuing to bring you guys this news on our Buckeyes. Please follow us on our platforms, YouTube, Spotify, Apple. We're going to end this show like we always end our show with a nice OH.
All right, yo.
Go Bucks. Talk to you guys soon.
Go Bucks.